Go. Go, go, go!
How's it going, everyone? Tim here, Ttc Adventures. Hope everyone's all well out there. As always, thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Well, before we get going on some TTC talk, real quick, I want to give a huge shout out to one of our local members, Mike, part of our WCRC family. During our throwdown last month in November, Mike did a full custom Mojave cabin bed, pinch dubbed, a beautiful professional paint job, and it was setting on a V3 chassis. So he wanted to get all that done and raffle and raise money for donations or charity, something like that. During that event, he was able to raise over $900. And this last weekend, him and a couple other local guys, Dylan and Jack, they went out and they purchased Christmas gifts. They purchased gifts for over 40 children for this upcoming holiday season. So super awesome that he was able to raise all that money, and they all used it for a great cause. And to everyone that came to the throwdown event and threw in on the raffle, thank you everybody very much for helping him raise all that. Especially a big shout out to the Extreme Oklahoma crawlers down south a little bit. They came up and helped show us some major support for the event and get it rolling. So again, thank you, Mike, for just putting in all that work on that body and raising all that money for a great cause. We've been hearing me mention TTC a lot lately in regards to like getting the race ready and stuff like that. So what is TTC? TTC is Top Truck Challenge, and it comes from the one-to-one world, the Top Truck Challenge event. It is comprised of many small, grueling events that truly put your truck to the test and its absolute limits. For example, the TTC event down in Crawlpalooza was comprised of a sled pull, a mud pit, a hill climb, and a mini Rubicon. Scoring stuff on those events, like what each event is worth as far as points, can vary depending on the host and where it's at, what other events are used. There are many other events can be used as well, frame twisters, obstacle courses, stuff like that. So there are several other events across TTC. So like before, I'm going to put in the description below a link to a Facebook group, the TTC Facebook group, started by my friend Dana there. He hosted the TTC event at Crawlpalooza and has been hosting TTC events in his local area for many years now. Now, TTC's been around for a while. I said it was one-to-one, so naturally it would just be a matter of time before it found its way to our scale of world. And so it has been around for a while. There are big TTC events throughout, stuff like that, but I think it's really kind of seen they're really gaining a lot more traction, a lot more popularity lately. So he made a Facebook page dedicated to TTC style rigs, builds, parts, and stuff like that. He's been taking feedback from everybody in the group as far as, hey, what tires does everybody like? What do you feel about this? Axles, links, motors, ESCs, combos, and he's actually got nice files broken down of parts and ranking parts. So like for tires, he has them ranked, in performance, loose dirt, rock, mud, wood, natural terrain, stuff like that. So it truly shows a very good breakdown of the parts and what they can handle as far as like parts like axles. He goes down, breaks down strength, the durability, and all that other stuff. So super helpful, especially for new builders and everything else. Now, what are some of these TTC events? And I'll just use Crawlpalooza as an example because it was right there. So like a sled pull is a sled pull, just like in one-to-one. We have a sled that we attach to the truck and it has weight. And as you pull it, the weight moves further up the sled towards the tongue and then makes it heavier and harder to pull as you get through the course. Mud pit is a mud pit, depending on where you are. You saw in the video in the very beginning, that was Jason's 6x6. He took first at the TTC this year. His 6x6 was fully submerged there. So waterproof is very important. ESC, servo, receiver, motor, all that needs to be waterproof or extremely water resistant. Like my receiver in here, I've taken it apart, silicone it, waterproof receiver, and then I also have it wrapped up in a balloon and a box just to make sure water doesn't get in the receiver. As you're doing everything as far as waterproofing and the strength of your vehicle to make sure not only does it finish every course, but it needs to survive throughout the day. As I said, there were 4 events, and they're pretty close. Everyone runs through the event, and then boom, it is on to the next event. You don't have a whole lot of time in between. And during those courses, like I said, each course, depending on how it is, each course is worth so many points towards your overall score, and then time is also taken into factor. For example, Crawlapalooza, Jason took first, I took second. We were tied as far as points for all the courses, but I had hit one more boundary in the Rubicon than he did, so he beat me by time. Driving good and driving smart, avoiding boundaries. All the courses have, your start, your finish as fast as you can, but there are also boundaries. Now, certain events, if you go fully outside the boundary, that's it, you're done right then and there. So you can touch or bounce off a boundary, and then you would be penalized time. For example, let's say during a course that you touch a boundary 3 times, and say the penalty for that course is plus 10 seconds. So those 3 boundaries add 30 seconds to your total score, which can obviously make a huge difference between placements and as far as that's concerned. Your truck needs to perform in multiple areas and different, just the style between certain events. Some spots have very technical crawling, some spots where you need the wheel speed and just the raw power and stuff like that. Like the sled pull, you need some raw power and some weight behind your truck to move the sled and get the momentum started and continue that momentum through the course. Whereas like the hill climb we had there, it had some moments where you needed the power, where you needed to shoot it and get up over stuff, but it also had several very technical crawling parts where you needed to really finesse the course and continue on. Kind of hitting overall all performance aspects and areas of your vehicle there. So you're looking to get into some TTC, looking to build a truck for it. So first of all, always check, your local area. That's where you spend most of your time, is crawling locally. So see if they have done or do any type of TTC events, or if they are interested or there's enough interest to start doing some TTC events. And then you guys can go from there, organize some event to, get some more looking down on what each event really entails and how you guys want to score it, stuff like that. So, like I said, they're super fun. We started doing some TTC events last year locally, and we're going to incorporate them more throughout this year, where we'll have like dedicated TTC events themselves. And always check local, check where you're competing as far as building rules, stuff like that. But generally speaking, most TTC events, as far as building, everything generally follows Sorca Class 3 rules. In the Class 3 Sorca description, it says an extreme off-road vehicle, such as one would see in a TTC event or King of Hammers style event. So right there, TTC is in the Class 3 description. That's what you're going to build on, which means you can incorporate rear wheel steer or dig, and you can have some big old tires if you want to. Now, in regards to tires, again, depending on the event and the amount of people in the vehicles, a lot of times there can be a 1.9 TTC class and a 2.2 TTC class. So we have both 1.9 and 2.2 rigs ready to go for each one if it's available at any certain event. But also with Class 3, it gives you that more, extreme building. You can go with the width, go with the wideness, full cage vehicles, custom truggies, all that stuff. Kind of lets you go. It really, with TTC, I think it really gives you, yes, you're sticking within the Class 3 boundaries, but you can truly build that ultimate do-it-all style rig, because you're going to be doing technical crawling. You're going to be doing some rock bouncing, and you'll be doing just some other things, like the mud run, the sled pull. Strength and power of your truck will be on full display. At Crawlapalooza, power is one thing I knew I needed to address. Crawlapalooza, I just had an 1800 Fusion. Now, yes, I was able to finish all the events, but I noticed a severe power difference between that and what most people in TTC were running. So we've got that fixed with the 3300 axis motor in here now. I have all of the power that I will need, and I still have that low, slow control crawl abilities. A little bit of everything here, and that's what I'm building for. As far as, getting a build. So, like I said, Class 3 rules is generally what you're going to follow. So, you're looking around, do you have a truck that you might want to incorporate into TTC? Or are you looking to get something? What are some good potential starter trucks? Well, the Wraith. OG as it can, with the right upgrades, can still hang with the best of them and can be a competitor across the board. So in regards to the Wraith, also the 1.9 Wraith. 1.9 Wraith would obviously make for a good candidate for a 1.9 class TTC truck. Next, Bomber. Bomber is also a good candidate. Kiddo Comp did the TTC with his Bomber, and he did very, very well. He had an absolute blast at that style of thing. He was loving every bit of that. Capra. I'll put it out there. Capra also could make a very great platform for TTC truck, 1.9 or 2.2. Modifying the Capra itself, Jason, along with his 6x6, a Capra with AR60s under it, and it is an absolute monster. Also, your rock bouncers could very well make a great TTC candidate. Kenny, local here, he competes a lot of TTC events with his bouncer. He likes it, the electronics, he has the abilities to have the power low and slow when he needs it, but then he has all the power. It is a very well built and strong truck, so it can take plenty of abuse. Also, in regards to that, the Rift, I would put the Rift there as well too. You know, with the right upgrade, make it entirely different vehicle. And when you get all three diffs locked, you know, center, front, and rear, all the diffs locked and the right electronics, it has the ability to slow crawl with that right gearing and right electronic setup. And like I said, strength in just those right places. You don't have to go full out crazy to get started and get a taste of it. 6x6s. I mean, in Sorca, there's no restriction on 4 wheels or 6 wheels. So that's the thing. You saw in the video, Jason, his TTC truck that he's won many times with is a custom 6x6 truck. So one thing, the G-Speed 6x6, we may incorporate that a little bit into some 1.9 TTC action this year too. Kenny's been trying to get me to stay for the TTC events the last couple of years, but something's always happened where I've had to leave early on a Sunday, which is the last day, and it is the TTC. This year I made specific plans to stay for the TTC event, and I'm so glad we did because we had such a blast. Everyone there was a great time. It was a hoot and a holler. Everyone was hollering. There was some carnage. There were broken parts. There were axles snapped. There were tires coming off the beads. It was an absolute great time and a great overall event. So hopefully this video is able to give you a little, you know, taste, something to start, you know, a little bit to look into, do a little searching, local stuff like that as far as TTC. And if you are looking, gives you something so you know what to look for as far as rules and building, stuff like that. So, well, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel down below, and get some other TTC videos lined up. Maybe a little bit more on in-depth on some of the events that are held. Maybe, I know Kenny has an actual sled that we use local for TTC. We can get that out one weekend and do just some fun runs and some TTC practice. So that'll wrap this one up. Like I said, hope you enjoyed the video. More to come. Definitely check out the Facebook group that I'm going to put down in the description below. And as always, any comment suggestions, put them down below. Love to hear everybody's feedback. So until next time, everyone have a great one and crawl on.